So, have you heard about this incredible new AI from Google? It's called Project Genie, and honestly, it has the potential to completely change everything we think we know about video games. I mean, how they're made, how we play them, the whole shebang. It's absolutely staggering. Okay, let me just ask you this. What if you could create an entire video game just by, well, describing it? I'm serious. Forget all the coding, forget the complicated design software. Imagine just saying, hey, I want a magical forest platformer with bouncy mushroom trampolines, and proof, a game you could actually play just appears. It sounds like science fiction, right? Well, it's way, way closer than you think.
All right, so let's get into the technology that's making this all possible. It's Google's Project Genie. And you have to understand, this is not just another AI image generator. Nope. This is something totally new, a different kind of AI that they're calling a foundation world model.
So, foundation world model, what on earth does that even mean? Well, think of it like this. A typical AI learns from, say, a billion pictures of a cat how to draw a cat. But a world model AI, it learns the rules of a world. It's been trained by watching countless hours of 2D platformer videos, so it understands stuff like gravity, how a character is supposed to jump, how objects should interact. It's literally learning the physics of a playable universe.
And this model is an absolute monster. We're talking about an 11 billion parameter model. Now, that huge number basically represents the insane complexity and power of the AI's brain that's learned all these rules of gameplay. It is a massive leap forward.
And let's be super clear here. This isn't about the AI spitting out a static picture or a little animation. No way. You give Genie a prompt, it could be an image, quick sketch, even just some text, and it generates a functional, interactive, and most importantly, playable game level. The gameplay itself becomes the generated asset. It's wild.
So, what does a future with this kind of technology actually look like? Well, experts are seeing three very different possibilities. Let's start with the most optimistic one, the idea of a massive creator boom.
This is what some are calling the democratization thesis. The argument here is that Genie doesn't replace game developers. It empowers everyone to become a game developer. All those massive technical and financial barriers that have kept so many people from ever making a game, they could just vanish. Just think about what YouTube did for video, right? One day, you needed a whole TV network to have a show, and the next day, all you needed was a webcam. This vision sees Genie doing the exact same thing for gaming. A single creative person with a great idea could, potentially, generate worlds with the scale and complexity that right now takes a studio of hundreds of people years to build. I mean, this completely flips the creative process on its head. It simplifies everything down to its absolute core. Your imagination becomes the main ingredient. You dream it, you describe it, and you get a world that you can immediately play in, test, and refine. It's a direct line from your idea straight to the experience. But not everyone is so optimistic. The second possible future is a much more critical, kind of a cautionary tale. What happens when creating a game becomes as easy as creating a picture? You get what some are calling the content flood. This is pretty much the indie apocalypse argument, but cranked up to 11. If the barrier to entry is basically zero, the market just gets completely swamped. The fear isn't that studios will die because they can't compete with AI, it's that they'll die because they just can't get noticed in an endless ocean of AI-generated games. In this future, the main challenge for a developer shifts completely. It's no longer about your technical skill or your budget, it's all about discoverability. How does your unique, handcrafted games stand out when there are a million new, decent but generic games appearing every single day? And this chart here visualizes the problem perfectly. You see that little bar for hit games? That might stay about the same, but the other bar for all the new AI content, it just grows exponentially, making it almost impossible for players to find those real gems in the rough. So we've got the utopian view and the dystopian view, but there's a third, more pragmatic future that a lot of industry insiders believe is actually the most likely. And this is the idea of Project Genie as the ultimate tool. This is the prototyping thesis. It argues that Genie won't replace developers, but it will become an absolutely essential part of their toolkit. Kind of like how the camera didn't end painting, it just changed how painters worked. Genie will do the same for developers, just making them faster and way more efficient.
The idea here is that Genie would be used for the earliest stages of development. So instead of artists and designers spending weeks, even months, building those rough, blocky, gray box levels just to test an idea, they could generate dozens of playable prototypes in a single afternoon. And the impact of that is just huge. The time it takes to go from a concept to something you can actually test could shrink from months down to just days. Concepts can be visualized instantly. So this isn't about replacing creativity, it's about accelerating it, putting it into overdrive.
So, with the arrival of foundation world models like Project Genie, the entire world of game development is really standing at a crossroads, and it's looking at three very distinct paths into the future.
And here they are, side by side. You've got the democratization angle, that exciting, empowering vision of endless creativity for everyone. Then you have the indie apocalypse angle, the cautionary tale about being drowned in a sea of average content. And finally, the prototyping angle, the grounded, realistic view of a powerful new tool for professionals. Ultimately, the path we go down will depend entirely on how we choose to use this technology. And it leaves us with this fundamental question, one that goes far beyond just gaming. As AI gets more and more powerful, are we building tools to augment human creativity, or are we building machines to replace it? The future isn't written, but the conversation starts right now.